Hello everyone, welcome back to Olsen Cafe. Now I have previously recorded two shorts on simple and basic definition of bearings. So today we are going to apply this knowledge to find bearings from a given point. So the keyword that I am introducing today, is this keyword from. So which means with all the questions that we are going to solve today, we are going to look out for this bearing that is from a given point. But first, let us recall, that bearings must be measured from the north, and it is measured in the clockwise direction. It is given in degree, and it has to be written as a 3-digit number. So with this, let's begin to solve the question. So we are going to solve two questions today. Now, so let's take a look at this first question. So if you take a look over here, you'll notice that in this question, it is always to find the bearing of A from O. So you notice all the questions here, it is from O. So which means it is pretty direct. So I need to look out for where is the point O, and then where is the north line. So since the north line is here, which means for this question here, I will need to take reference from this north line. So with this, we are ready to solve the first question. Now, so let's take a look at part A. So part A, it says that we want to find the bearing of A. So bearing of A, so where is A? A is over here. So I want to find bearing of A from O. So which means I will need to take reference from the north line, clockwise direction down to this line joining A and O. So what is this angle here? It is simply 11 degrees. But because bearing has to be written as a 3-digit number, so I have to add a 0 in front. So let's move on to the second question. So second question, it says find the bearing of B from O. So again, I need to take the north line from O. So where is B? B is over here. So I will need to take reference from the north line. So I will need to have the angle measured clockwise direction down from this north line until the line joining point O and B. So this angle over here, which we have is 129 degrees plus the 11 degrees. So with this, I simply have the answer here, which is 140 degrees. So part B is done. So all this is still very easy. Now let's take a look at part C. Part C, it says to find the bearing of C from O. So again, from O, now where is C? Point C is here. So which means I will need to take a angle from the north line from O till the line joining O and C. So if I take a look at this angle, I notice that I will be able to take 270 degrees minus of 42. So therefore, bearing of C from O is simply just 270 minus of 42. So this will give us 228 degrees. So part C again is done. So let's take a look at part D. Part D requires us to find the bearing of D from O. So again, where is point D? Point D is over here. So I need to take reference from the angle, from the north line all the way down until the line joining O and D. So in this case, this angle takes us through 3/4 of a cycle. So therefore, this is simply 270 degrees. So this is easy. Now let's take a look at the last one for the first question. So it says find the bearing of E from O. So now point E is here. So I hope you get the idea now. So again, I need to take reference of the angle north line from O, and it go all the way until it touches the line joining O and E, so which is this angle here. So what do we have over here? So you do notice that if I take reference from this angle, all I need is to subtract the angle at the point and subtract this 69 degrees. So therefore, this final answer here for question 1 will be 360 degrees minus of 69 degrees, and this will give us 291 degrees. So first question, and we are done. And this is still very direct and not that complicated. Now we are going to move on to the second question, whereby you will see that, all right, the bearings are all measured from a different point. All right, so let's see how can we solve questions like this. All right, so let's move on to the second question. Now, so over here, if you take a look at the questions, right, so you notice that we are required to find the bearing of Q from P, again from Q. I can have a can be measured from a different point. So which means over here we do need to consider, right, the north line from various point, all right, depending on the question. Okay, so therefore the keyword is really from where. All right, we need to ask ourselves this question. So where should we have the north line from? All right, so we need to take reference from, all right, the point wherever it is. All right, so let's look at part A. So part A, it says that, all right, find the bearing of Q from P. So in this case, it is still pretty easy. So I'll take a look at the north line from P. So where is the bearing? So Q is here. All right, so therefore the bearing is from the north line till the line joining point Q and P. So in this case, it is still very much direct. So it is 36 degrees. But again, because bearing is written as 3-digit, I have to add a 0 in front. So part A is done. It's still very much similar to what we have done earlier on. Now let's take a look at part B. Part B, it says, all right, find the bearing of P from Q. Now, so which means with this word from Q, so we do know that from here, I will need to draw the north line from Q. So let me draw this north line. All right, so this is the north line from Q. So where is point P? Point P is here. So I want to measure, all right, the angle that is north line, all right, from Q, so all the way down until the line joining point P and Q. So I need to find this angle here. Now, so over here, you notice that it seems like there is not enough information. But if we take a look, all right, closely, right, and let me just extend this north line and see if you are able to see some, all right, some information over here. So if I extend this north line, what you will see is, all right, the two north line should be parallel, isn't it? So which means, all right, from here, I'm not sure if you are able to identify this angle property. Are you able to see that now? So you do observe, all right, that in this case, I have this angle, all right, is actually the same as this 36 degrees. Yeah, so therefore, this is simply equals to 36 degrees by alternate angles. All right, and then over here, it is angle on a straight line, so it's simply 180 degrees. So therefore, for us to find the bearing of P from Q, it is simply 180 degrees plus, right, the alternate angles, which is 36 degrees. Right, so with this, right, we do get our answer, which is equals to 216 degrees. All right, so part B is done. Now, so let's take a look at part C. Part C requires us to find the bearing of R from P. So again, it's back to the north line from P. So to find the bearing of R from P, so now again, I measure the angle from the north line, all right, clockwise direction down to, right, the line joining point R and point P. So what is this angle over here? So if you take a look at this angle, right, so we know that this is simply equals to 36 degrees plus 37 degrees. All right, so with this, I put them together. So therefore, all right, what I will have here is 73 degrees. So again, because bearing is written as 3-digit, so I have to add a 0 in front. So therefore, answer for part C is 073 degrees. Now let's take a look at part D. Part D, it says bearing of P from R. So now we have a new point, which is from R. So which means I will need a north line from R. So I'm going to draw the north line from R, so which is here. So bearing of which point? Bearing of P, isn't it? So it's bearing of P. So what I'm going to do is I will need to find this angle from the north line R all the way to, all right, the line joining point P and R. So I have this one here. Okay, so with this, again, I am going to use the same trick that I used earlier on. So which means I am going to extend this north line. Yeah, so this north line, it should be parallel to the earlier north line here, right? So if you take a look earlier on in part C, we already have the angle, all right, which is equals to 73 degrees. So which means if I am going to use the same property, right, the angle property, so I do have here, can you see the Z over here? So which means if I'm take a look at this, so I will see that this angle, it is the alternate angles of, all right, 73 degrees. So which means this angle here is 73. So therefore, for us to find the bearing of P from R, all I need to do is I just take 180 degrees and plus 73. So this will give us the bearing. So putting this together, all right, I will be able to get the answer. This will give us 253 degrees. So part D is done. So over here, if you take a look at part C and D, right, we do need our knowledge on alternate angles, right, to be applied here in order for us to find the bearing. Yeah. Now, so let's take a look at part E. Now, part E will need us to find the bearing of Q from R. So again, we want to measure the angle from R. All right, so again, we measure from this R here. So now it's bearing of Q. So which means what we want, all right, is from this north line, clockwise direction down all the way until, right, it touches the line joining Q and R. So what do we have here? All right, can you see a pattern? So earlier on, we have already found from part D, we have the angle, all right, which is 253 degrees. So all we need to do is I just simply, all right, need to add 43 degrees. All right, so therefore bearing of Q from R is simply equals to 253 degrees, all right, plus what we have here, the little angle over there, which is 43 degrees. And then to add this up together, I will be able to get 296 degrees. Yeah, so again, part E is done. Now, let's take a look at the last question. The last question requires us to find the bearing of R from Q. Are you able to find the bearing of R from Q? Let me know what is your answer in the comment below. All right, so I hope you find this video useful. All right, this is the type of question that you will see very often in the examination. All right, I will see you in the next video. Bye.